I'm Nikki and welcome to the Preppy Possum. Today I'm going to lead you step by step through a painting. All right, today we're going to paint, like, I call it the floral pumpkin, but it's like some flowers kind of coming out of a pumpkin. So I'm going to start with like a pretty good sized brush, so maybe like number 8 or something, and dry it off. And let's use some like off-white with a little bit of white. And we're gonna throw like a huge oval on there. So I'm gonna skip up from the bottom, at least a few inches, and skip down from the top, like at least 5 or 6 inches. And I'm gonna do a big oval. So it's kind of like, it's close to the center. It can be a little bit closer to the bottom than the top, just to leave room for our flowers. And then once you get the oval on there, let's just go ahead and grab a bunch of paint and fill it in, just to get some paint on there. So it's some off-white with some bright white. And I'm just gonna fill it in with a layer, just to kind of get us a start to our pumpkin. All right, so we gotta start to the oval. Then let's go ahead and skip to the bottom center, and we're gonna do a little droop. So think kind of like a smiley. This is gonna be like the lowest point of the pumpkin. Actually, I might droop it a little bit more. It's like you're going underneath an orange or something. And then once you get that, then we're gonna do the same kind of thing to the left and the right of it, but this one doesn't have to come down quite as far. So I'm going to do another little droop to the left and the right of it. And then I'm going to do a couple more droops. And these, you know, can kind of come up a little as you're doing it. Just going to do that same kind of thing on both sides. And then when you get right here kind of to the edge, you can just kind of flare it out. And you're not going to see the top of the pumpkin, so you don't even have to worry about that. As long as we kind of got the start of our pumpkin going on, we're good there. All right, so then let's go ahead and wipe that one off a little bit. And let's just grab some really dark blue. And I'm gonna skip up from the bottom at least a few inches so my pumpkin can kind of be sitting on the table. And I'm going to draw a little line to the left and the right of the pumpkin. And then once you have that line, then I'm going to fill in all above it. You could even swap out to a big brush if you wanted to. I'm probably just going to use this one since I have it. And just grab a bunch of paint. And it doesn't matter like which way your brush strokes go, because we can always come back and thicken it up around our flowers. So I'm going to get like all the big parts first. But yeah, don't worry about your brush strokes. Just kind of, as long as we're getting some paint on there, that's all that matters. Then we won't have to paint around our flowers and it'll be easier. And I'm just gonna go ahead and take it like all the way up next to the pumpkin. So once you have all the big areas, then you can go ahead and get all the way up next to it. So you don't want to leave any space. It's all right if your pumpkin's still wet and kind of mixes in, just don't leave any canvas between your pumpkin and the background. All right, so we got to start on our background on the top part. So let's go ahead and wipe that one off and chunk it in the water. And you can either rinse out that one, or you could grab like maybe even a smaller brush. So I would use like a number 6 or an 8. And I'm gonna grab a little bit of like an off-white and orange together. Just to make like a pale orange kinda, like a tangerine. And now I'm gonna do some diagonal lines. So I'm gonna start like probably somewhere in the middle here. And then I'm just gonna keep doing that all the way across. So do one, then skip about that same amount of space and do another one. It doesn't matter if you like get off a little bit, that won't matter. But I'm just gonna keep on doing my little diagonals. I'm gonna finish it off over here on this side. Then once we have that, now I'm just gonna do the same thing going in like the opposite direction. So just kind of jump in, probably start through the middle again and just throw you like a little diagonal. And then you'll skip a little space and you'll throw another one. And then you'll just keep on doing that. And your gingham, I mean, it doesn't have to look perfect, so just kind of wing it. It doesn't matter if it starts slanting more on one side or something, it'll still look cute. Okay, so we have the start of our gingham. Now let's just grab kind of like some dark orange. So some darker orange. I might have got too dark. And we're just gonna dab a little bit of that just where they cross over. So you're just gonna do kind of like a little messy square of that in all the places where they overlap. And if you didn't want to do like a square, you could even just do like a little dab. All right. I think we got about everywhere it intersects with a little bit, and then we'll just wipe that one off and chunk it and let it dry for just a second. But now I'm just gonna kind of take more of that off-white and bright white, and I'm just gonna go over the edges of where I had my little droops for my pumpkin. Okay, then I'm gonna wipe that one off, and I'm gonna go ahead and kind of start laying in my light pink flowers. So I'm gonna grab that same brush, just kind of wipe it off and grab some light pinks together. And I'm gonna do like a messy little flower right here. So just kind of like a bumpy edge, messy flower. And I'm gonna go ahead and fill it in with a layer just to get some paint on there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and throw another couple light pink ones, like maybe like a little half flower, a little bud right there, and fill it in. And then another flower. All right, so once you have that, then let's go ahead and for our ornamental cabbage, I'm gonna go ahead and throw like the middle of that on there too, so just a messy little center circle. And then I might grab some dark purple and dark pink. Go ahead and throw a little bit of that on there. And come back and throw more later. Okay, so we have the start to our pink flowers. Now let's go ahead and kind of wipe that one off, and let's grab like the orange. Let's grab like the dark orange, because we can always come back and make our persimmons lighter. But I'm gonna throw my little persimmons. So for these, it's kind of like a chunky little heart. It can kind of dip in the middle a little bit. It's kind of like they're little pumpkins, persimmons. And so I'm gonna throw just a few of these. And we'll come back and throw another layer, so don't worry that they're kind of all right, so I have a few persimmons going on. Then I'm gonna, you don't even really have to wipe it off, just grab some red and maybe a little bit of red and dark pink. And we're gonna throw like our darker flowers. So I'm gonna go ahead and maybe throw me one over here. It can kind of go across my persimmon. And get like a layer of paint on there. And then I'm gonna throw like a big flower right here. And then I'm gonna put a couple more like over here. Maybe like two little buds together, kind of. And then my ornamental cabbage can overlap it in a second. Okay, so we got a start going on those. Then let's go ahead and wipe that one off and chunk it. And let's grab a small brush. So you could use like a number 4 or a number 1. And I'm gonna grab a little bit of like dark gray, maybe even some black with it. And I'm gonna throw the starts to my pumpkin lines. So like right down here at the bottom, we're gonna use that as like one little section. So right there from the bottom of your little smiley, you're gonna throw it like leaning out to the left there. And then from the right hand side of the smiley, kind of lean it out to the right. And don't worry if these get too thick, because we're going to come back and thicken up our pumpkins. And then we're going to do the same kind of thing. So now over here on the right hand side, lean them out to the right. And they just go right in where the little section comes up. And then we're going to do the same thing kind of on the left. All right, so we have the start to our little parts. Then let's go ahead and wipe that one off and chunk it. And let's grab like a number 6 size again and dry it off. And I'm gonna grab some really light green with maybe even a little bit of off-white, because it's gonna be like the lighter section around our ornamental cabbage. So I'm gonna kind of do a little bit of that. And I'm just gonna thicken it up a little. It doesn't really matter where it hits, but just kind of thicken it up a smidge, and we'll come back and throw more paint on there in a little bit. Okay, so we got some light going on there. Then let's grab some really dark green. And I'm gonna have the edge of the cabbage come up over here. So I'm just gonna get a bumpy edge, and then I'm just gonna fill it in with dark green all the way to my lighter color. Actually, I might grab a little bit of lighter with it, just so it doesn't, because we're just kind of trying to get this started. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here on the edge of the ornamental cabbage. Then I'm going to grab a little bit more, and I'm going to do like a little part of cabbage drooping right here. Okie dokie, got that. All right, so we have the start to our dark parts. So let's go ahead and wipe that one off and chunk it. But now grab like a number 6 and maybe like a little bit of light gray and off-white, and we're gonna throw like a little bit of that towards like the left and right hand side of all of our little pumpkin sections. That way you have like a little bit of a shadow. So it's just the light gray and the off-white, and you're doing it like right up next to that dark line that we did. You don't want to like get rid of it, but if it got too thick, this is where you can like thin it up a little bit. And then I would grab some like off-white, white, and throw some through the middle of each one of your sections to kind of thicken those up. So you just want like more of the darker towards the outside edges of the sections, and then you want the middle a little bit lighter. All right, so we got our pumpkin thickened up. Now while we have that same size, just kind of wipe it off a little bit, and let's grab more of the light pink. And let's throw like a few little bits of light pink kind of near, more towards the edges of our, we can throw a little bit through the flower, but more towards the edges of our lighter flowers. Go ahead and use like some darker pinks, and we're going to do just a few bits of darker. So like towards the bud, it can kind of be more towards the top. So we have a little bit of dark. Let's go ahead and put a little bit of dark through the middle of our ornamental cabbage too. All right, then we'll grab some more of the pinks. I'm just going to kind of thicken up anywhere that looked thin is all I'm doing. Got a lot of paint that time. Then I'm going to grab a little bit of the red and dark pink again, and I'm going to kind of brighten it up more towards the tops of my like red ones, kind of the dark pink and the red. And then I'm just going to throw a little bit of that through my red ones. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of like a burgundy with some red maybe. Or I'll start out with a burgundy and throw kind of like in a loose spiral. I'm going to throw a little bit of dark through my red flowers. And then I'm going to throw just a few towards the top of that bud. And then just a little bit of dark towards the bottom of that. Okay, so we got to start to our red ones. Then let's wipe that one off and grab some of that like pale orange and maybe even a tiny bit of pink with the pale orange, because that gives us kind of like a persimmon color, or it should. So some pale orange and some pink. And I'm just going to kind of hit through the middle of my persimmons again, just to kind of thicken it up. All right, so I got a layer on that. Then I'm going to grab a little bit more of the white and pale orange and just do a quick layer while it's wet through like one little side of each little persimmon. All right, so we got a little bit of that there. Then let's go ahead and kind of wipe it off, and I'm going to grab some more of that off-white and slimy limey green together. And now I'm just going to go back to my ornamental cabbage, and I'm just going to do a light, loose, few wiggles to kind of add some texture, which you could use a smaller brush if you wanted to. I'm just kind of using this because I had it in my hand. So you could use like a number 4, even a number 1 if you like really tiny. But I'm just kind of getting loosey-goosey with it. And then go ahead and wipe that one off and chunk it in the water. And let's grab, I'm going to grab a little bit smaller. So now I'm going to grab like a number 4. And some of that same color. So some slimy limey with a little off-white. And now I'm going to do like the little veins through the cabbage. So whenever you do this, you want to be really light and piecey. Try not to be like too perfect with it. Oh, got a little thick there. And then I'm gonna throw a few light piecey little veins here too. And then I'm gonna grab some of the two greens together. So some slimy, limey, and dark together. And do like a few little pieces with that. That'll help if it got like too light or too perfect when you were throwing the veins. Then I might grab a little bit more of that dark green kind of by itself, and I'm just gonna make sure I have some of that near the edges and kind of bump them up if you needed to again. All right, so got the start on our cabbage kinda, and then wipe that one off, and let's grab some dark brown. And you could use a number 1. I'm using a number 4, but you could use it like a number 1 if you want to for this part. I'm just gonna throw a couple little stems that connect our persimmons. So you don't wanna be like too perfect, just so you have like a little something, and we can come back and add some light to it once we get them on there. Then this one I'm gonna maybe like cut across my ornamental cabbage and have another little stem come behind it. And over here, I might put a little something right there. And then you just want to make sure all your persimmons that you can kind of see have something coming towards them. I think we got them all connected. None of them are just hanging out. So then I'm going to grab a tiny bit of the light brown, and I'm going to throw just a little bit of a highlight just in a couple places on my stems. Okay, so got a highlight there. Then just wipe off your extra and chunk it in the water, and let's grab a teeny tiny brush. So like a number 1. And we're gonna grab some of the light green, like mainly the light green to start out. And I'm gonna do some piecey greenery. So I got a little too dark there. But you just want to be like really light and piecey. So just load your brush with a lot of paint and barely touch. And I want to have a little bit of this greenery kind of coming from all the little parts. But you want to always start from the flowers and come out with it. I'm going to throw a few little piecey greenery. Might still add some dark, a little leaf up there. Don't have to, but so once you have a little bit of light coming out from all your flowers, then I'm going to grab just a little bit of the dark green, and I'm not going to do quite as many of these, but you want a few little piecey greenery with a dark green. So we have some piecey dark green greenery. Now we're just going to kind of wipe that one off. Let's let it dry for just a second. So let's go ahead, and I think our flowers are okay. You can always add if you wanted to, but I'm going to go with it. So I'm going to grab a little bit of paint go ahead and sign it. And now we have our floral pumpkin. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Be sure to check us out. We're on Cox Street in Asheboro. And be sure to check out our website, www.thepreppypossum.com.